Chapter 3. At Elo's apartment. Elo called me as agreed, to have coffee and to continue our discussions. A few days have passed since we spoke about the most notable breakthrough accompanying the gravest incident of our world, its foreseeable extermination. Did you say they had an idea we existed? That was my earliest reply to Elo when he first revealed that secret to me when we last met. Yes, secret. Earth was always a vibrant subject among our people, but as folklore rather than a historical and physical reality. Its recent debut on our astrological charts befell in synchronization with an envisioned disappearance of our beloved star from the corresponding maps. People were still having struggles to accept the facts of its actual existence. It was unimaginable how they would react if they perceived the other discovery. Earthlings knowing about us would be a drastic turn of events that could disrupt our entire heritage. Come on, explain to me all that you know about it. I surprised Elo with these words once he served me the coffee. I cannot yet tell you everything, he responded with a faint smile, but I will share with you as much as possible. He leaned over to pick a medium-sized hard-covered book out of his old collection before handing it to me. Here you are. That is what I was telling you about, he said while opening it at a specific page, which he marked pointing at some writings in English, one of many Earthlings' languages, which I could not easily read. I am not as an expert in that language as you, my friend, I said while smiling at him. Then asked, could you please translate what's written? Elo grabbed the book back and started translating aloud as he was eye-reading what they wrote. Proxima Centauri much resembles our star, and its Earth-sized exoplanet, Proxima-b, belongs in the habitable zone. Its nature is very akin to our planet. Should things go wrong later, it, among other options, is a possible suggested haven. He stopped and raised his eyes to notice my facial expressions. They indeed had an idea about us, I muttered with my lips ajar, shocked as I could ever be, before jumping off my chair. This is amazing, I cried. Noticing my overreaction, I took a deep breath and sat down again. But why is it kept undisclosed? I asked. The original copy of this, he replied, pointing at the book in his hands, then added, is one of many ancient books we retrieved less than a century ago. When our experts came by the chapter, excerpts of which we just read, they consulted with the highest officials and preferred to keep it confidential and never to reveal anything about this issue. They feared it might only cause chaos more disordered than our government can handle. You know of what I speak. He was not asking me. We both knew what he meant. Our planet's population was not so numerous, but the newborn global government was still setting out rules and regulations to keep the hard, well-earned peace. We achieved such peace after the ravaging war which broke out between all the 5 nations we had. A war that reached every corner and has lasted tens of years, reaping too many lives, tearing apart many families, and fracturing our society. The controversial recent announcement about the planet Earth has already disturbed the harmony we relished, not to mention the unpleasant news about our star. So, releasing any more information about Earth and Earthlings would not be wise. Few conceived it as an act of foolishness and thought it was better to keep it classified until further discoveries and confirmations. Do they also know about Alpha Centauri BC? I asked with a trembling voice. Without a word, he gave me a terrified look mixed with surprise. Answer me, Elo. Did Earthlings ever mention them, the Centaurians? I rephrased my question. You know, Bot, you are the only person who asked me that in such a direct and quick way. He took a sip from his coffee before turning another page in his book and continued reading. Comparing Proxima-b and Alpha Centauri BC is absurd, for the latter would be far too close to its star, Alpha Centauri AB, to harbour life. At that moment, I was overwhelmed when he paused again to look at me. For certain, these observations were not accurate back in their time, he explained. They lacked the advanced technology needed. Yes, they were mistaken. I gave that remark with grief. Saddened with memories, I went back to the times of war and what triggered it or who. The Centaurians, our eternal enemy, succeeded with their cunningness in setting off conflicts between our nations, using the tensions we already had between each other, and with the aid of some mercenaries and weapon dealers, they fueled the war. So do you think we have a chance, Elo? I broke the brief silence that took place after our last words. For a while he looked disappointed, brooding about my question. It seems up till now we haven't. he replied at last with a nervous tone, shaking his head in denial. But why? I argued in disapproval. If we know all this about Earth and you are telling me they knew about us too, then probably there's a reason behind all this, I challenged him. Then I took a deep breath, trying to soothe myself down, and with a calm tone I added, all these concurrences do not happen by coincidence. Maybe all this is meant to be. These are signs, man. I wished I could tell what signs, and I feared he might ask. All I wanted was to find out more about Earth. Okay, we may have a plan. He surrendered to my persistence and began explaining without hesitation. Actually, it is only an idea that I came up with and proposed a few years ago after Earth's discovery was confirmed. But too many obstacles and difficulties weaken the possibility of putting it in action. He paused while I looked at him firmly, watching his enthusiasm, allowing him to continue. Our plan, the idea I mean, is to send a covert expedition to Earth, for which we need to assemble some well-trained personnel with exceptional characteristics. This team will assemble a lot of talents and collaborators to organize and conduct, amongst whom only one member will be on the ground. His last words spurred me to ask at once, and what is the problem then? We do not have field agents, he replied with desperation. Not waiting for me this time, he continued, as you know, Bot, too few experts survived the war, and even among those survivors, fewer have thorough knowledge about Earth and its nature, let alone the exiled ones, and such a perilous mission comes with completely unpredictable results. We cannot afford just losing more of our scientists for whatever reason. He nervously stood up and headed to the window next to him that overlooked a crowded street where his house lied. His tone soothed as he continued, we cannot entrust such missions in our robots because they could be easily compromised. Besides, we need more than just data collection. We need life interaction with the environment, which is why we cannot send any normal person either. We seek someone who knows what to do there, someone who understands physics and geology, with sufficient information about space and astronomy, needless to say, the targeted solar system that curates Earth. Someone with survival capabilities and skills. We need someone ready to risk his life, knowing he might not return, yet possess the aptitudes to go there and the motives to come back. I could not say precisely how long this quiet episode took us for the third time in one session, but we lasted much longer this time. Nothing interrupted it until Elo's phone announced an incoming call, breaking this silence. Yes, Pat, he answered his caller with an attentive expression showing on his face. I am listening. The man on the other side of the line sounded nervous, and I could hear his loud voice from where I sat. I was not able, however, to recognize his exact words properly. Elo's face turned pale as a person who was hearing the most unpleasant news he could ever receive. What are the readings? He asked the guy before waiting a while, attending to the feedback. Suddenly he was walking all around the hall, back and forth, and his footsteps raised some worries in my heart while he was still listening to his caller giving him readings. Okay, I am coming. Do not tell anyone, he answered back with firmness before he hung up, and in a blink of an eye he reached his door while apologizing. Sorry, Bot, I have to leave now. It's an emergency. We will talk again. I nodded and followed him, leaving his apartment with the worst, most terrifying thought in my head. The worst ever.